right, so asexual reproduction. So we're going through, moving on. Asexual reproduction. So you have two parents, one male, one female. Most living things come from two parents. Reproduction from two parents is called sexual reproduction. So you can underline or you can highlight to stay with me. Okay? Reproduction from two parents is sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction results in offspring that are not exactly like either parent. Because the offspring from sexually reproducing organisms inherit genes from two parents, they are more diverse. So they're getting two sets of DNA. So they're going to blend that DNA and kind of look a little bit like both, but not exactly like either. You can cross off this sentence about dragons. We didn't do anything with dragons. So offspring are more diverse because they have more parents. They have two parents. There is another kind of reproduction that comes from only one parent. Reproduction from only one parent is called asexual reproduction. The offspring of asexually reproducing organisms inherit genes from only one parent. Therefore, they are genetically identical to that parent. This results in more uniform offspring. So if y'all wear school uniforms, you all look the same because you're getting the same clothes. They are getting the same DNA, so they are going to look just like their parents. There are several kinds of asexual reproduction. The simplest kind is called binary fission. Bacteria and simple one-celled plants and animals reproduce by binary fission. The other two kinds are budding and regeneration. So if you look down at the picture right here, this is a bacteria cell. When a bacteria cell wants to reproduce, it is going to do binary fission. Now it says up here is it has a cell membrane and cytoplasm just like other cells. It has nuclear material, so DNA, but no nucleus. So if it doesn't have a nucleus, is it prokaryotic or eukaryotic? It is prokaryotic, so write that below it. So you're going to start with one bacteria cell, and it has DNA in the middle. And what's going to happen is that DNA is going to copy itself and go to each side, and the cytoplasm is going to start to pinch off, and then that cell is going to completely divide into two identical cells. Identical cells. All right, flip it to the inside. And at the top of this, just keep your brain on the same path. Right, binary fission, because that's still what we're talking about. So below is an amoeba parent cell. Highlight amoeba parent cell because that, you can put a little TQ above that, is something you're going to see again on the test question. An amoeba is a one-celled animal that lives in water. It reproduces by binary fission. So then, go ahead, you can circle this whole instruction set here and exit off because I already did that part for you. So on the side here we have amoeba cell, and binary fission. What is this dark spot in the cell? The nucleus. So label that. What holds everything in place? The gel. Cytoplasm. And what surrounds an animal cell? Cell membrane. We're going to go through it. So, right here, this is step 1. Put a 1 under it. And you have one cell. Step 2. What do you see 2 of now? Yep, so your nucleus splits. Step 3, what's splitting now? Cytoplasm splits. And step 4, cell membrane. And right here you have 2 what? 2 identical cells. 2, and I put ID for identical. 2 identical cells means their DNA is exactly the same in both cells. So when you look at these, what part of the cell divided first? The nucleus. Have to split our DNA first, make copies. After the nucleus divides, what splits? Cytoplasm. And can you tell the 2 new cells from the original cell?
No.
Why?
Because they're identical.
Because they're identical what?
Cells.
They have what?
Same DNA.
Identical DNA. That's the key point that makes them the same. They have identical DNA.
Wow, you're smart.
Okay, the next part is paramecium cell. So a paramecium is a one-celled animal, also lives in water. Reproduces by binary fission as well. We are going to, step 2 we're not going to do, but step 1 we will. What was the dark spot in the cell? Nucleus. What's the gel? Plasm. And what is the ring around it? Cell membrane. All right. So step 1 is what? Nope. What is the step 1? One cell. You start with one cell. Then step 2, nucleus splits. Step 3, cytoplasm splits. And step 4, and you get 2 identical cells. Multiplies whenever it's time to split. Good question. All right, flip it over. And at the top there, write paramecium, binary fission. Because that's what these questions are about. And I want us to remember what we're talking about when we can study this. And when the paramecium goes through binary fission, what part of the cell divides first? Nucleus. That's true for no matter what when it's binary fission. After that divides, what happens? Cytoplasm splits. Can you tell them apart?
No.
Why?
Same.
Same DNA. Good. All right, another form of asexual reproduction is called budding. Yeast is the most common, but other animals such as a hydra also reproduce by budding. Make sure you mark hydra, put a TQ next to it, because that you'll see again on a test. Yeast is a fungus that's used in making bread. In budding, a tiny organism grows out from the parent cell. When it is large enough, it breaks off from the parent cell, and it grows until it is able to reproduce the same way. No, so it's like a little bubble growing off of a cell, and then it splits off. So, if you look at the pictures here, right here is budding. So the word budding is also for flowers. Yes, this is not the same. Okay, so step one here, you have one cell, and it starts to get a bump in the side of it. And we call that a bud. Then step two, that bud grows, and the nucleus moves over towards it. Step three, that nucleus will have replicated itself, so there's a second one. That second nucleus will move into the bud, and the new one will stay in the cell. And step four, that cell will pinch off. So now you have two identical cells, and even though one's smaller than the other, they have identical DNA, so they're identical in what they're going to look like. Okay, so when we look at these questions below, which step there shows the nucleus moving towards the bud?
Two.
What, the bud breaks off the parent cell. The bud grows. And obviously 1, the cell membrane forms a bud. Good.